Yo, it's Jeff Ross, Mike's hot, let's ride. Caffeinated kangaroo with a crew worldwide. From Tassie to LA, we flip the script. Helping burnt out dads, let the hustle shift. This ain't hype, it's purpose and play. Building biz with soul, the laptop dad way. Reels AI, freedom in your grip. With a boom sauce beat and a real talk tip. So grab your brew, hit play, let's roll. You're the hero now, we're just here to soul. Let's bounce, legend, in the awesome town where kangaroos coach and kings wear crowns. This is the Laptop Lifestyle Dad Show, boom sauce, baby.
All right, it's Laptop Lifestyle Dad Boom Sauce, baby. Gotta love that line. Well, g'day, guys. It's Jeff Ross here, your caffeinated kangaroo, bouncing into your screen. And I decided from today on, August 11th, I'm going to commit to doing daily lives. I've done this in the past. It's worked really well, but this is what I've realized is when I don't do a live, I don't get the opportunity to talk about the things that are really relevant at the time. I don't get the opportunity to put my finger on the pulse check, and I become reactive, not responsive. So this is me stepping up, creating an awesome habit, creating some discipline, creating some systems around this to be able to serve our wonderful community and share the insights in a deeper way rather than just doing it on a post. So, hey, wherever you're tuning in from around the globe, let us know where you're tuning in from. I'm tuning in from Tasmania, Australia. I can see you here on my post here. I'd love to be able to connect with you and engage with you. To do Q&A style conversations and everything else in between. Well, I thought, hey, why not for the first one? Even if it's just me and some other random person shows up, there's only one person, I'll be able to help to entertain and inform and educate and add value to your life. But as we go, right, consistency breeds, action in that space, and that's what success needs. These calls will get bigger and bigger and more people will jump on, and there'll be opportunity to do Q&A style as well. So, but right now, I wanted to talk about the heart of leadership, not just from an aspirational state, but, in the state where everything is going pear-shaped, in the state where, things are challenging and they're not going in the original vision that you took, right? And it takes really good leaders in this space to be able to navigate this space. It's easy to lead when good times are going good. It's easy to lead when things are going right? But it's hard to lead in the middle of chaos, and that's where really good leaders step up and shine. So I want to talk to you about the conversation of what John Maxwell talks about with the law of leadership lead and what we need to do when we feel stuck in that space. So let's dive in. Let's get into it. This is a leadership conversation. There's no fluff. There's no rah-rah kind of hype around it all. I'm talking about leadership that shows up when everything goes pear-shaped. Because here's the thing, in this space, it is easy to lead when everything's going good, right? And everybody's happy with the results. Everything's flowing. Everybody's winning. The vibe's upbeat. But it's the really good leaders that stand up in the room and go, I'm here to lead when shit's not going right. True leaders are when we dig deep, the wheels are like they're about to fall off. We step up, we step forward when it's easier to step back. So let's dive into this today. And let's unpack this together, because a healthy leader leads, full stop. And I've been having this conversation back and forth with a few other leaders in this conversation, and I'm seeing the different levels of leadership. And just had a really good conversation with the CEO of Finance Pro, Joshua Phelps, in this conversation and around, leadership in that space and what it's going to take to help us to go to the next stage of the game. And I was talking to him about a few things, and one of the big light bulbs that come up for me was leaders lead, full stop. In the good times and the bad times and all the times between. We don't get distracted by the noise. We don't get distracted by the chaos. The real step, the real test of leadership, it's not when you're winning. It's when you're in the trenches, when the tough get going, right? What is that saying? When the tough get going, the going get tough. Well, this is what's happening in this space, and this is a real test of true leadership. So my question for you is on your journey, Whether you're an aspiring leader, whether you're a hero or you're a hero maker in the conversation, wherever you are on that journey, you're stepping up to become a leader, whether you realize it or not. And one of my mentors, Kylie Thompson, actually said to me, 5 years ago, said, Jeff, be the leader that you wish that you had. So this is always going to be the drumbeat of these type of conversations. So my question for you right now is, where are you on that leadership journey? Do you like to lead only when it's easy? Or do you love to form under pressure? Because I know for me, in the times I look back on my leadership journey, the times that I've stepped up and become the leader that I wish I had been, has always been in that scene of pressure. Pressure creates diamonds conversation, right? And it's the time where you step up and rise up. I talk about the law of the leadership lid here, what John Maxwell talks about in his irrefutable laws, 21 laws of leadership. If you haven't heard of John Maxwell, go look him up. He's a brilliant leader in this space and a brilliant educator. Brilliant book. I love that book. It's been one of my Bibles, 21 Laws of Leadership. And one of the laws he talks about in this space is the law of the leadership lid. This is the one where we either rise or fall to the level of your leadership lid. And some of us are in scenarios where that lid can, in a hard season, will shrink back to that law of that leadership lid. So, like, if you're a level 6 leader, right, your lid is a level 6, you're only ever going to attract 4s and 5s as leaders to step up to that space. And you can grow in this space. You can go from a 6 to a 7 to an 8, and you can take your people with you. That's that rising tides raise all conversations. Rising tides raise all ships type conversation, right? But when the going gets tough, we'll always fall to our leadership lid. And you can't ever expect to attract other leaders who are bigger and higher than you in their maturity, in their wisdom, and in their experience. So, as we're going in this journey, identify where you are on that law of that leadership leader, and be realistic with yourself. If you're only a 3, be a 3. That's okay. You've got room to grow. If you're a 7 or an 8, that's cool. You've always got room to grow. But this is exactly what helps you to push it higher together, is having these type of conversations. So ask yourself, am I letting my lid drop, or am I raising it up so my people have room to grow? That's when I had a really reflective conversation with myself today, was this is the conversation I had with myself. Am I falling back to that level of leadership that others are bringing me back down? Or am I stepping up and I raising the bar for others to grow with me? It's a really powerful question, don't you think? So I really encourage you to do that internal check. Whenever everything's ever going to shit, whenever there's chaos around you, I can guarantee you it's not external circumstances causing it. Normally the solution inside of that is internal. We have to go look at ourselves and where we can take ownership, accountability, and responsibility for our actions. And because it's very easy to get caught up in the noise of the peanut gallery, yeah? The peanut gallery is those who are bringing the vibration down. Those who are distracting you because they're caught up in their own drama. They're caught up in their own blame, excuses, and denial. And let's call a spade, right? And it's okay for them. But this is where I love Mel Robbins' let them theory. Let them be them, and then let me. Let them do what they're going to do, but let me. How can I raise the bar? How can I raise the vibration? How can I take ownership, accountability, and responsibility for my own actions? So this is why I would say it's really important to have mentors, to have supporters in your corner who are helping you to raise the bar, who are helping you to lift up your lid. G'day, Daryl. G'day, how you going? Thank you. Just let us know where you're tuning in from around the world. But I'd also love to know if you're really resonating with this message right now. Drop a 1 in the comments for me. Drop that fire emoji. I'd love to see a few fire emojis come up here, whether you're watching the replay later or you're watching the live. And I'd also want to know what's speaking to your heart, because I know when I've got caught up in this peanut gallery noise, right? This is the trap of this conversation as a leader. Getting caught up in the noise, getting caught up in the complaints, the distractions, the drama of this conversation. You know what? The peanut gallery is always going to be there. And the peanut gallery always has an opinion. But have you ever noticed, even though the most well-intentioned leaders, the most, they're operating out of a space of great intentions, but what's that saying about the road to hell was paved with good intentions? Good intentions aren't going to get you anywhere in life. So when you're looking at this, I'm looking at the noise around me, the distractions and the dramas around me. And I want to recognize, people have got good hearts and good intentions and they're playing the best that they can play at. But leaders step up and rise in this chaos. Leaders push that noise aside and say no to the distractions. Leaders push that noise aside and say no to the low vibration conversations. So this is me putting healthy boundaries in around me and what I'm operating in this space and saying I'm no longer tolerating those unhealthy, toxic sort of low vibration conversations. Because I have a responsibility, and the people that I'm choosing to help support this conversation, the people who want to lock arms and run with me, I have a responsibility to raise the bar, to raise the lid, so others can grow to meet that expectation, not fall down the other way. See, leaders listen, but they don't have to stay there in the stuck. They don't have to stay there in the drama. They empathize with it. They listen, and they listen with care. But leaders will help to raise the bar. They're the thermostat of the conversation, not the thermometer. See, leaders keep their eyes on the vision and the mission and set the path and set the tone to help others to rise up to that conversation. And I always like to look at, the Bible when I come to a lot of wisdom in this space. Depending on what your faith background is or your relationship with God, that's neither here nor there right now. I really feel that the Bible is the number one original personal development book out there, because it's an opportunity here for us to do the internal work to renew our mind and restore our heart, full stop. So when I go into this conversation, I look into the characters of the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, and I'm looking for the leadership lessons, the clues that are there for us, for everybody to get. And I love the story around Moses. Let's talk about Moses for a second. Moses was the guy who led the tribe out of Egypt into the promised land, but he was stuck in wilderness for a while. He was the bloke that took God's people, and he carried the weight of both sides of the conversation. He carried the weight for God, and as he was putting himself in that space for God's vision, for God's mission for his people, but he also carried the ambassador role between the people and God, right? I can't think of a better leadership example than Moses. But you can see why Moses got discouraged. You can see why Moses actually got depressed on this journey, because he was the guy who was taking the arrows in the back, the cuts for the leader between the people and God in this conversation. And this is what leadership is. You're the person in the middle between the mission and the vision and your people. You're the person who's leading people through the hard, through the good, through the shit, through the promised land conversations. And leadership is a lonely journey for this very reason, because it's not necessarily the most grateful journey. People are always going to look for ways to attack you. They're going to look for ways to bring you down. And this is all the noise. This is all distractions. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate you, man. And so this noise and this distractions and the bickering and the peanut gallery and all that sort of thing, that's not leadership. Leadership needs to rise above the noise, to be the person who is guiding other people to set the tone for the mission, the vision. The mission matters most. And those people who are going to run with you, they'll run with you. And if they don't, they don't. Another mentor of mine today, he called me out on something and says, Jeff, you're always trying to please people. Stop it. So I don't need to please everybody. And that was me falling back into old habits, trying to make sure everybody's happy, yeah, right? Drop a one in the comment if you can relate to that. Like, I think us entrepreneurs, when we start on this journey of leadership, we all fall into that habit of trying to please everybody, trying to make everybody happy, trying to be the peacemaker of the conversation. See, leaders don't get bogged down in that conversation. Leaders lead. So when you're in the middle, you're translating vision to people, and people's and the people's needs to back the vision. So you're always going to be the visionary. You're always going to be the leader who can see the promised land. You can see it clearly, right? Others might not be able to see it, but see, it's not our job to help others to see it. It's our job to help guide them through so they can see it clearly for themselves. It's not our job to save or rescue anybody, but it is our job to empower and equip and support others to be able to save and rescue themselves. G'day, Kiara. How you going, champion? So I've learned a lot here in this space as maturing as a leader, as I raise up my leadership lid. And I had to learn that it's okay to cop some arrows in the back sometimes. It's okay to take the cuts for the people in that space. Because if you don't do it, who's going to do it? See, everybody needs to be a leader in this space, but this is the price of influence. When you've got your people's back and they've got your trust in that space, the cost of that trust, the cost of that influence is we need to go and be the leader in the conversation. See, healthy leaders keep leading because the vision is always worth it. They don't pander to the noise. They don't fall over when the tough gets going. They don't go pivot and adjust and get distracted. They focus. They get focus blinders on, follow one course until successful. And those who want to come with you and support you on that, they will run with you. So here's my challenge to this live today. And I wanted to share this wisdom with you because this is wisdom that I'm growing in this space as well. I'm maturing in this space as well. I'm in the trenches with you. And I'm just decided to start creating content around this, documenting the journey and sharing this wisdom in these lessons with you to be able to help you step up and become the leader that you need to be, to help you to step up and become the leader that you wish that you had. So we're going to be doing more conversations like this. I'm going to be running a Facebook Live around 2:30, 3 o'clock. It won't always be spot on that time, depending on what's going on in my life. But I'm committing to showing up live here for at least half an hour to 15 minutes every day to be able to share this wisdom, these insights with you to help you to run your race well, to help you to step up and become that leader. So here's my challenge for you today. I want you to take a hard look at yourself. I want you to take a hard look at where you are on your leadership journey. I want you to recognize where your leadership lead is. Now, the question that you need to ask yourself once you recognize that is, are you rising to it or are you falling under it? If you're getting distracted by the noise and the chaos and the drama, I would say that you're falling under it. And I'm guilty of doing that. I just caught myself on it today. But if you're looking to do conversations that raise the bar, that raise the vibration, then you're rising to it. So as a leader, it's our responsibility to be the thermostat, not the thermometer. See, the thermometer will read the temperature and it'll give you the temperature for what the temperature room is, right? That's the job of the thermometer. And most of us are being great thermometers. We walk into any room and we'll conform and we'll fall under the leadership lid that's in the room and fall under it to read the temperature. See, a thermostat goes, I don't care if you're at 38 degrees. I'm gonna set the temperature. I'm going to be the person who raises the vibration, who raises the energy of the conversation to set the temperature, to raise it up so others can rise up to it. So the question comes in here in this conversation is, what do you need to do to step up to raise the vibration? That's the conversation of today. Leaders lead. Leaders lead in a way your people need to step up and raise the vibration in the good times and the conversations, in the good times and the chaos. We have these type of conversations with each other to help us to raise the vibration, not bring it back down to meet the temperature of the room. This is what great leaders do. And the great thing about this conversation is it doesn't matter where you are on your journey, you can step up and be a great leader. You can step up wherever you are on your journey and say, enough's enough. I'm going to take the bull by the horns here. I'm going to step into what I need to do for that leadership. And I'm going to become the leader that I wish that I had. Because leadership, it's an internal journey. Leadership is a self journey. Leadership starts with leading yourself. I love that, Taishane. Thank you. Stepping up in the chaos is where true leaders shine. What's your biggest leadership challenge right now? It's a powerful question. And ask yourself that and journal on that and reflect that. Kiara's saying, this is what I've been saying all year. I love it. It's good to find people that you're attracted to in the right vibration, right? What does that say? When you find your vibe, you find your tribe. You find people who are running the same race as you, because leadership can be a lonely journey, but only if you allow it to be. If you're running with other leaders, that's where you need to be. That's the pulse check. And here's the thing, right? I recognized that I was running a race on my own as a leader, and I had so many other mentors and conduits to plug in to get this healthy conversation going myself. And it's exhausting when you're running the race by yourself. And it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to fall back down to their leadership lead and get bogged up in the crap, in the distraction, in the noise. That's okay. Like, it is what it is. This is that whole let them theory, right? Let them do what they want to do, but let me focus on how I can be a better leader. Let them go get caught up in the blame, excuse, and denial, but let me focus on being a better leader and raising the vibration for those who want to run this race with us. See, leadership is an individual internal journey. And when I put 100% in and you put 100% in, that's the beautiful marriage. And then if you wanted to, you can bring God into the conversation, which I highly recommend you do. And he puts 100% in. Now we've got 300%. Now we're powered with the supernatural. And now we get to go play a bigger game. So guys, where are you on that leadership journey? Are you rising it or are you falling to it? Yes, it all starts with you. So whilst I've got your attention, we're going to shift the game here in the Laptop Lifestyle Dads community. We're going to basically build a rebrand. So watch this space in our Facebook group where we're going to launch. We're going to call it the Hero Makers community. And we're going to invite other collaborators to add to this conversation. So I see very clearly a leadership track. The first step on this leadership track is the aspiring leader. The aspiring leader is someone who's stepping up to figure this stuff out. They're figuring out their strengths. They're figuring out their weaknesses. They're figuring out their gifts in that space, in that conversation, right? They're figuring stuff out. An aspiring leader is that person who's new to the journey and they've got to go work in that self-identity and that self-worth and that self-leadership conversation. You see what I'm using? Self, it's very much an internal journey, because how can you lead others if you can't lead yourself? How can you love others if you can't love yourself? So it's about learning how to love yourself. And for those of you who do have a belief in a faith, I was an atheist and now I've come into this space and I really believe that we need to love God. So it's learning to love ourselves, love God, and love others. How can you do any of that if you can't love yourself? So that's what an aspiring leader is doing, right? They're going on that journey of self-discovery. A hero of the story. So you got your aspiring leader, then you move into the hero of the story. So the hero is someone who's worked out a lot of this. They understand their strengths. They understand their weaknesses. They understand the self-identity journey that they're on. And then the hero will shift from aspiring leader to hero because now they've got some runs on the board. They've got some wins on the board, and they're building out some systems and procedures around that. So a hero is all about systems and procedures to work out how to scale up and play a bigger game. How to be, to be the hero of the story, right? We're talking about the hero's journey. It's bringing in the hero's conversation. Then I look at the hero maker's conversation. The hero maker is just the one that's got a few runs on the board. They've got systems, they've got things in place, but now they're all about multiplication. Now they're all about helping to make other heroes who are making other hero makers. It's all about discipleship, really. And that's what, discipleship is about, making other disciples who are making other disciples. So change that word and change it to hero maker. And so we're going to start to take what we're doing here in the Laptop Lifestyle Dads and make this bigger than me. And the invitation is, if you're a hero or you're a hero maker on this conversation, we would love to talk to you. Because there's two things. I'm taking the podcast that I've started with this last year. We just aired our 53rd episode. So 53 episodes are out there in season 1 and season 2. We're shifting gears. We're going to start a new season called season 3. And it's going to be all about the hero maker season. Still going to keep the original brand that everybody loves, the Laptop Lifestyle Dad Show. But it's going to be the Laptop Lifestyle Dad Show season 3, the hero maker season. So we're going to be interviewing other hero makers on our podcast. And then we're going to bring people into this community and invite other collaborators, because I know I'm great at what I do, but I also know there are great thought leaders out there in the NLP space, in the leadership space, in the sales space, in the mechanical space, in the AI space, and all the other industries out there. So I'm looking at bringing in some really awesome speakers, from my connections from the Los Angeles Tribune, and my bridges that I have with the marketing arena and the network marketing arena. And we're going to interview some amazing people in this space, in the hero makers community. So watch this space as we brand that out. And the podcast will help to serve that conversation. We're going to do some amazing interviews and some amazing events. And whilst I've got you, we've also got our product suite. So I'm all about helping you to find your voice, to elevate your voice, to leverage your voice. So we've got our Laptop Lifestyle Dads Academy. We're about to create a really awesome offer around that. So watch this space. And we're also going to launch a weekly mentoring space where you can come in and group mentoring and you get mastermind style coaching in that space. So we're going to be able to launch that as well. So guys, we've got something for everybody to meet you where you're at. And so I'm going to be doing these daily lives to add massive value to your lives and help to share the wisdom and experiences and the lesson with you all. But also, it's document more than you promote. So, but I'm going to do the Gary Vaynerchuk style, jab, 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 right hook, right? Really awesome book if you haven't read that as well. So by giving you the left jab, left jab, left jab, left jab, I've now got your attention. I've built some trust and I've built some influence with you. I'm going in for the ask. So I'll be doing that as well. So I lead through by practice and practice what I preach, and I'm in the trenches with you. So we're going to build this. We're taking everything to the next level. Even with what I'm doing, I still feel like I've been playing a small game. So this is Jeff Ross stepping up and saying, right, enough's enough. Let's go help a lot more people, solve a lot bigger problems together. And in that space, we're all going to win. So thank you, Daryl. Thank you, Fakara. Thank you, Ty Shane, for jumping on this one live. If you're watching us live, let us know where you're tuning in from. If you're watching the replay, just put #replay. But it'll be the same time, same place every day. I'm going to start to get a bit of a rhythm beat going here. It'll be anywhere from 2:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. Sydney Eastern time. I'm sorry, Sydney. Yeah, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So that's Sydney time, Hobart time in that space. All right, guys. Thanks for your time. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay caffeinated, stay legendary. And if you've got any questions and you want me to focus on that specific topic, this is a great place to let us know. We'll see you on the next call. Bye for now.